Hey, welcome back, guys. Happy Saturday, Grayscale fam. So I figured I'd make this video and just talk about a couple things related to time, like the past year and the next year moving forward. It was a year ago this week. I was actually down here. I was sitting in this chair and I made a video and put it on the channel and said, I'm coming back. I'm gonna start doing videos again because I hadn't been doing videos for like a year. And I said I'm going to focus on investing because I knew we had a crypto bull run coming up, and I want to get people, in the know of Grayscale so they could get invested and make some really good profits. So it was about a year ago this week when I kind of rebooted the channel. Prior to that time, I had taken like a year or so off of doing videos from the channel, and prior to that, I was doing videos about the government, society, COVID, all that kind of stuff. And I'd gotten kind of sick of talking about that stuff, so I decided to take a break. But anyway, so I came back, and obviously you found me at some point, probably most of you, between June of last year and now. So it's been a full year. It feels like forever because it's been, it's part of the waiting process you have to go through in crypto winter when you're just waiting for things to kick off. The next year moving forward, it's going to feel a lot different. I mean, we only have a couple months before the end of the year, and my expectation, and this could be a little off, I want to talk about this, actually, some things that I think are important, but my expectation generally is I believe that we can probably expect to see LTC and BCHG kind of take off and do their run starting probably end of October, maybe November, maybe as late as December. We'll see. Nothing's guaranteed in terms of timetables, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. But a year from now, I mean, we should be to the point where probably most likely, if the past has kind of repeated, the runs for LTC and BCHG might be over or might be coming to an end, because they came to an end, in the May, month of May or thereabouts, plus or minus, in 2021. LTC and BCH, like when Bitcoin Cash, still had their runs going, but the trust actually collapsed in price because the premiums came off. I'm just expecting that something similar kind of happens this time. So about a year from now is maybe when we could expect to see the trust basically collapse, like by 90%, for example. So just, that's just my thinking. It might not play out that way. Who knows? It might collapse sooner than that. It might last for a very long time, for months, into the summer and even early into the fall. It depends. I don't know. Nobody knows for sure how things are going to happen this cycle, but that's a possibility. I do expect that, however, that even if those trusts have collapsed in terms of price points that are lucrative, that we will have other trusts that are just ramping up and doing their runs. Like, I fully expect Mana and ETCG, those two trusts, to be running and probably run for a long time. Even H10 and ZCSH, those trusts last cycle, they didn't run for just a month or two. They ran for quite a long time. You can go back and look at the price charts for Horizon and Zcash, and Decentraland and Ethereum Classic. Like those runs went on for a number of months. So it's a good, I think to me, it's like, I've talked about this on my channel in the past a lot about rotation, and I plan on rotating some or all of my profits from LTCN and BCHG into other trusts to further maximize gains. Some people don't want to do that for different reasons. That's totally fine. I feel comfortable doing it, so I'm going to do that because I think I can make a lot more money by doing that. Like in my small IRA account, I can just, double that thing, maybe triple it, maybe even better than that. After I get out of LTC and a BCHG, I just make even better gains, and I want to do that. Same thing with my son's UTMA account. I think I can do that. For my big portfolio, I won't be able to put my entire portfolio through the other trust, but I'll put a portion of it through the other trust to kind of try to, capitalize on the additional gains that can be had there. But it's not for everybody. Some people don't like rotation. They don't trust it for different reasons. It's totally fine. People aren't comfortable with it. I am, so I'm gonna do that. And I don't worry about that. Some people, I want to put this word of caution out there too, though. And then I want to talk about timing of the trust and why I think things could be slightly different this cycle. Some things that are actually of concern to me. First of all, like, some people want to rotate into Bitcoin ETFs after cashing out of LTC and BCHG. That could be a good play. It might be, but it might not. We don't know. There's no guarantee when the cycle high for Bitcoin is going to come. I've seen high estimates for cycle high estimates for Bitcoin, anywhere on the high end being like $500,000 to on the low end being about 170,000. We don't know when the cycle high is going to come. What if the cycle high comes in the fall, but we don't think it's a cycle high, and then after you cash out an LTC and a BCHG, you put your profits into a Bitcoin ETF? Well, if it's just a downward slide from there, that's not good. Your profits would erode. So you got to be really careful about it. You got to be on top of the Bitcoin technical analysis. So make sure you're following people who are doing TA on Bitcoin if you want to do that. I think it's really important to make sure you don't get burned. I don't want you guys to lose money. I don't want to lose money. I don't want you guys to lose money. So just be careful about that kind of thing. Okay, so let me talk about why I think things could be a little bit different this cycle. And some things that are a little bit, they're raising some red flags for me. And so the biggest things for me, I've talked about these cryptos actually on my channel. And those are Digibyte and Filecoin. So I was expecting, and many people were, that both of those cryptos would start their runs about a month or two ago. And for good reason, because historically that's when they started. This is particularly concerning for me in regards to Digibyte, because Digibyte has had two cycles, the last two cycles, last two crypto bull runs, it started its run in about March, and it hasn't this cycle. So for whatever reason, I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows for sure, but it hasn't. So something's different than the last two cycles with Digibyte. Could that signal be a leading indicator that things are going to be a little different, a little wacky this cycle? That's a possibility. What if we don't have Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash launch in October, November, December? What if they don't launch until January or February? It's a possibility. Who knows, right? Nobody's in control of stuff. It's just the runs happen because of market speculation, market interest, market investment, and nobody knows for sure when things are going to take off. So you can't look at the past and say, well, it happened this way last cycle, so it's definitely going to happen this cycle. You can only use that as like a guideline and say, well, this is probably what's going to happen. You know, I talked about rotation into different trusts like HSAN or ZCSH. I think, you know, based on last cycle, those two trusts would be the next ones to move after LTC and a BCHG. Well, GXLM would have moved just slightly after, but a little bit further down the line, HSN is ECSH, and then just a few weeks later, MANA and ETCG. But there's not a guarantee that it's going to happen exactly that way this cycle. So if you're planning on doing a rotation, you have to be paying attention to what is going on. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. It's like as I'm cashing out of LTCN, BCHG, I'm going to be paying really close attention to what's going on with the underlying cryptos that underlie the trust, right? Because it's like that is the primary driver of the price action. In addition to the premiums on the trust, it's the price action of the underlying crypto. So I'm going to be paying attention very close to that. So you got to be, if you're going to do rotation into whatever, whether it's a Bitcoin ETF or a Grayscale trust or whatever, you need to pay attention to what you're rotating into. You also, by the way, some people will want to rotate into growth stocks or whatever. What if this would be a worst case situation? What if you rotated into a growth stock like Apple or Microsoft or Nvidia, and as soon as you did that or shortly after, the price of the stock collapsed by 30% because we enter a recession? I mean, we're kind of overdue for one. I hope that doesn't happen, but anything could happen. And all we can do as investors is try to kind of figure out the best way to get our investments to the best place, right? It's like there's no guarantees in life in any of this stuff. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see what happens this cycle. It would concern me greatly if Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash did not launch before the end of the year. Because then it's like, well, what's going on? Is there a problem? Like, what's going on? I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to have us see our launch, at the end of this year, just after fall. I would love that, but there's no guarantees, right? So we just have to look at the past and go, okay, this is what's likely, but you never know. You never know, because it is a different cycle. It is a different cycle. So But chances are things are going to rhyme. Things are going to be kind of similar. So just keep that in mind with rotation and all that kind of stuff. A year from now, it's like many of you will have been cashed out of LTCN and BCHG, and you won't be invested in other Grayscale trusts because you're not interested in them. And so you'll be done with the Grayscale run. So a year from now, even if I make a video a year from now, it's kind of like a post LTCN and BCHG wrap up. Many of you guys might be gone. Like you might not even be on Discord anymore. You might not be following the channel because you already cashed out, which is totally fine. Just don't forget to come back, for next cycle. Get in during the bear market when the prices are the best. Don't buy LTCN and BCHG at a premium is my suggestion, just in case they are converted to ETFs. I think that likelihood is pretty high. But yeah, the next year, it's going to be super interesting for us. We're all going to be very busy trying to figure out the best way to cash out and maximize our profits and all that kind of stuff. So it should be a pretty good one. For those of you who are in later running cryptos or later running trusts, like Mana, ETCG, ZCSH, HZen, well, a year from now, most likely, those things are still going to be gone probably for a couple months. So it's like based on the past, that's kind of what we have to go by. So that's probably what we're going to have happen. But we'll see, and we'll ultimately kind of be able to determine better when things start and end. When we figure out when things start, it's like, because you look at the start of the run, you can oftentimes kind of say, well, the run is likely to last 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is for a given crypto. And that gives us guidance for the Grayscale trusts. Not a guarantee though. Like I said, with BCHG and LTCN, the premiums collapsed in May of 2021, and the trust prices as a result collapsed by like 90% or more. And the trust basically ran at or close to NAV, which was, that gives you a preview of what it's like to have, LTCN and BCHG be ETFs, without a premium. And this is why we can make so much more money in the trust now with premiums. I think it's our last cycle with these trusts. So if it's the first time that you're getting in, I hope you make as much money as you possibly can, because I honestly don't think that we'll have premiums available to us in those trusts next cycle, because I think they'll be ETFs. But anyway, that's future planning, and it's just kind of talking about the future. So hope you guys are doing well. Happy Sunday again, wherever you might be. I will do some more videos this week, potentially on Grayscale, potentially on some other stuff though too. There's I kind of look for, it's like I don't even know what to talk about on a regular basis for Grayscale, because there's not a whole lot happening. It's like, we're in this waiting period. It's the doldrums, right? So it's like I'm going to fill in the gaps a little bit with some other content. And I think I'll continue the Clown World series. I got some feedback and people like that. So I'll continue that and just talk about stuff going on in the world that I think is just BS crazy stuff that is going to affect us and our kids and our grandkids and all that kind of stuff in not a good way. But I will talk about it. So until I see you guys next time, hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you soon. Take care.